A Stolen Childhood is a very interesting book from Casey Watson. It did get a little bit slow at times, but then when something was revealed, it became really shocking. And then something else was revealed and it became even more disturbing. So if you've read this or if you tried reading this and didn't gel with it, I'd say give it another go and stick with it. This is the second time I'm reading it, but I couldn't remember what the big reveals were from the first time because it's been quite a number of years since I read it. This is chronologically the second book that's set in her classroom. It was released in 2015, and some of her foster care memoirs are, well, I guess not foster care memoirs. She's working in a school in I guess, a behavioural unit where children who can't have mainstream classes go and spend their days. And the main focus here is a girl called Kiera, a 12-year-old girl who gets into a bit of a fight at the start of the book, and she goes to the unit to kind of cool off. But while she's there, Casey has a hunch that something's not quite right with Kiera's home life, and she asks if she wants to stay at the unit longer term for that term. And while there, she begins to find out things that don't quite add up, and eventually, probably about halfway through, there is one reveal, and then not everything is as it seems. And I don't want to say too much more than that because I don't want to spoil it. The fact that these books are interesting is because things are revealed that we don't expect a lot of the time. And that's certainly the case here. It's an interesting look at just how much a school can play a part in saving a child's life, certainly saving a child's mental health, or at least helping them on the road to recovery. That's definitely what we get with Kiera. It makes me think if Kiera hadn't gone into that fight and hadn't gone to Casey's unit, what would her life be like today? There's no way of knowing that, of course, but I certainly, it made me think, all it took was one woman's intervention, and that changed the path for for Kiera. And it's very yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted. It will definitely reveal things that are quite difficult to stomach, but it's told in a way that's very engaging. As I said, it did kind of, maybe in the second quarter. I don't normally divide books into quarters, but it did feel like the first quarter was interesting, the second was quite slow, and then the final half was really interesting and a little bit unpredictable, and I wasn't really sure what direction it was going to take. It's quite well written. Most of the time it's quite engaging, and I quite liked it. I still prefer Casey Watson's foster care memoirs, but the ones set in a school are still quite fascinating, and ultimately they definitely provide a lot of food for thought about welfare and things that can be done to help children when things look okay from the outside. A Stolen Childhood may not be my favourite of Casey Watson's, but whether you're new to her books or have read any of her other books or you've tried reading this one, it is one that I recommend reading and persevering with because it does get really quite gripping.